I love barefoot sandals. They are fun, pretty, a bit bohemian or hippie style and quick to make. So let's make one. We will start in the middle and then go right round here. All this here bit is just one row. And then when we come back here we go back and forth to get this here done. And then you finish with making the straps. I have a stitch made for starting, and then I'm going to chain 5. And then join it to the first stitch using a slip stitch, just straight through, like this here. And now we start by making 6 groups of 2 trebles with some chain stitches in between, and that's trebles in the American crochet terms. So there's 2 yarn overs with each one. And I'm replacing the first treble using 4 chain stitches. 4, and then 2 yarn overs, hook, insert the hook into the ring, and then always 2, 2, and then those 2 together. Then chain 3, and then 2 trebles into this here in the middle, into the ring, and when you come to this stage where you have 2 loops on the hook, you leave it there and make the other one. 2 yarn overs, and then here, and then with 1 yarn over you pull through all of the 3 loops. That means that those 2 trebles are joined at the top. And then just the same again. So we will need 6 of these. I'll show 1 more. So 3 chain stitches. You do need to move these a bit to tighten the middle there. So again the same thing. A treble to the central ring and leave it like that. And then again 2 yarn overs, and now that you have 3 loops, a yarn over and through all of those. And then you'll make 3 more of the same. Now that I have 6 of these groups, I need to finish the row so that I end up in the middle of these 2. So chain 2, and then a double crochet to the top of these, of where we started, here, this here stitch, and a double crochet in American crochet terms. There. Now I'm chaining 5, and here we'll have a picot. So I'm going back 1 to the 3rd stitch from the hook and making a slip stitch into that there. So that formed a small picot. And then chain 2 and a double crochet into the same stitch where where we started this row. So hook through there and a double crochet and a picot also on top of this double crochet directly here. 3 chain stitches, and I normally take these 2 stitches that are at the top here that you first see to attach the picot to, so a slip stitch into those 2 there. And next we'll make a loop into the gap in between these groups on the previous row. Chain 3 and a single crochet in between here, just round that chain like this, and then we'll make a group of 3 double crochets into this here next bit. But first we chain 3 to get there, and then a double crochet into the middle one of these 3 chain stitches. So through here, a double crochet, and then a picot. Chain 3 and attach the picot to the top of the double crochet, like that there. And then we'll have just 2 chain stitches in between these double crochets, and now I'll have another one that goes to the same stitch here. And also a picot at the top. And again a third one, so chain 2 and a double crochet into the same place with a picot on top. There. Now we are at this point here, and then we start going and making this here loop that goes around your toe. First chaining 3 and attaching it to the next loop on the previous row, a single crochet, and again chain 3. A double crochet to the middle, just like previously, and a picot on top. But now we are doing it differently, so that here we are not having any chain stitches in between the 3 double crochets. So I go straight on and make a second double crochet into the same stitch with a picot, and a third one still, and again a picot. It's actually pouring rain here. I wonder if you can hear this at the background, but I'm not going to change this till tomorrow just because it's raining. There. And now we need a big loop, so that's 15 chain stitches. 15. 12, 13, 14, 15. And now for the next, you hold it like this here, and you sort of go backwards here now. So we are actually attaching it sort of backwards on the other side of these 3 picots that we just made. So you go to the root of this here picot and attach it in there somewhere. Go through here and make a slip stitch there. So now we have a loop like this here. Next we'll make some single crochets and picots on this here side of the loop. 2 single crochets, then a picot with 3 chain stitches, and I'm just attaching it to the first one here. And again 2 single crochets, and another picot, and still 2 single crochets. So it looks like this here now. And now what we'll need is the big loop that will go around the toe here. For that I'm using chainless foundation. It means that you are making the chain and the first row of single crochets at the same time. So to start that you need 2 chain stitches, and you start by inserting the hook into the first one of these chain stitches we just made, and take a yarn over and pull through. So this looks like a single crochet, but we won't actually go through both of them yet. Instead, take a yarn over and pull the yarn through just the first one of these 2, like here. And then you finish it off just as if it was a single crochet, so through both of them, like that. And then another one like that. You take the loop that we have formed here, you go through it, and again yarn over through just the first one of these 2, and then through both. So you see that it starts growing as if you had a chain and a first row of single crochets. I'll do one more, that through that loop, yarn through one of the stitches, and then yarn through both of the stitches. So this is what you do, and you'll need 25 of these to get a long enough loop. 25. Here I have the 25, and then I'm attaching it to this here other ring using single crochet, and then we're just doing the other side the same as here. 2 single crochets, a picot, two single crochets, picot, and 2 single crochets. So now that the loop is done, and then we need to get back to the start of our row. To keep this in place, I'll make a slip stitch into the starts of the picots here. So it's just a hook through there and pull through the stitch we had. And then chain 3, and then again a single crochet into the gap between those groups of trebles here, and 3 chains again. Now we see that on this here side there are 3 picots, and on where we are now there's only 2, so we need to make one more. So I'm making a double crochet into the where the start of the row was, and a picot, chain 2, and a slip stitch to the start of this here picot. There. So that's that row done. Now we are here, and then we'll start to do the rest back and forth. Next I'm chaining 7, 7, and then treble 2 yarn overs into the next gap. And then continue chain 3 and a treble into the next gap, and so on. Then this here bit, and again 3 into here, and one more, chain 3 and a treble on the left side of the picot here. Like that there. And then we'll start making loops going back and forth for 3 rows. When you turn, you chain 4, and otherwise you chain 3. And then chain 3, and always just to the next loop. I'll finish this row there. So always chaining 3 and a single crochet to the next loop, and one more, chaining 3. And at the end of the row here, it's better to put it in through the stitch so it doesn't start to slide. Like that. And now I'll chain 4 and turn. And just the same to the end of the row. Now always chaining 3 and a single crochet here. And then on the next row you will have 4 instead of 3, you'll have 4 because it grows a bit. So here and then back again. And now there's just one row to do before the straps, these here fan shapes at the top. And we'll start them by chaining 6, 6, and then turn and make a picot by going back to the 3rd stitch from the hook. But on this here row we are making the picot so that instead of using a slip stitch to attach the picot, we are using a single crochet. And the reason for that is simply that that gives a little bit of space between the different trebles we are going to have. And then a treble into this here loop with 2 yarn overs and a picot, and a single crochet there, and so on. Picot, and one more treble, so that's the 4th one, except that the first one was just chains. Then chain 3 and attach it into this here loop with a single crochet. So that's that one. And then again chain 3 and then just continue in this here. So we will have 4 trebles with a picot in between in this here loop. So I'll do that now. There. And then again you chain 3 and attach it here, chain 3, and then do one more of these here with 4 trebles and picots in between to the last loop here. So here we are, and now the only thing that's left is to make the long laces or straps or whatever you call them. So we'll do that now. Since our yarn is already attached to this corner where one of the laces is starting, so I just continue here. All you do is you make a chain long enough that it will go around your legs the way you want it to go. I would suggest to have it at least 70 centimeters long. That's in the region of 30 inches. You can have it longer, or if you just want to tie it once, then it can be shorter. You just need to check what you want. I'm just showing how it goes. I'm not going to crochet all those chain stitches here. So after you have it long enough, what you do, you come back on the chain using slip stitches. So that makes it a little bit thicker, just so that it won't hurt your legs when you tie it, because if it's just a chain, it's so thin that it will sort of feel like going into your legs, into your skin. So like this, stitch by stitch, you come back on the entire lace as long as you want it to be. So it will look like this here then. And by the time you come back to the start of it, I'm here now. Make a couple of slip stitches also into the sort of body of the work, say here, just so that it's attached properly. And then cut your yarn on that side and go to the other corner, so here, and take the yarn again and first make a single crochet into the last sort of the corner of the whole thing. And then just continue exactly the same. So you make a long chain and come back on it. And then all you need to do is just finish off the yarn ends. And remember that you can of course change the colors wherever at any part of the barefoot sandal and try out different color combinations. So that's everything.